when did you get so into freaking handstands? Was that from gymnastics?
Yeah, it was gymnastics. That was like the one thing that I really just got quickly. I don't know what it was. A lot of people like progress way faster than me and move to different gyms and for gymnastics. But when we had the handstand competition, bro, it was over for y'all.
So Echo, I'm not kidding. She would walk around the house, our house, just to handstand. Just walk around. Like,
impressive.
Show up for dinner. Like, coming from her room, she'd just...
Her feet roll in.
Yep, feet roll in.
Through the hallways.
Yeah. Like, everywhere she would just handstand, just walk around. It was like, you know, so when someone has a fidgeting habit, they turn their pen or they do that with their lips or they, whatever, tap their foot. It was like that, but she just like would be standing there and just do handstands and just like stand there, just do a handstand walking around.
And my feet would be flying everywhere, bro. Like I was gonna kick you in the face.
Was that? Did it feel like a fidget, or was it like you were just like kind of into it that hardcore?
I just loved it. Like I just loved going on my hands. I thought it was so fun.
Well, I don't know if you know this about me. I had a handstand phase as well.
Really?
Yeah, from Judo when I was small. So I was maybe 10, 11. Nah, it was before 5th grade. So. Yeah, maybe 9. Anyway, I took Judo, and one of the drills was walking on your hands across the mat and back. No one could do it. You just walk, and then if you go down, you continue, right? One guy could do it. It's maybe a 20-year-old guy, and he was like kind of buff. And I remember everyone like being so impressed with this guy. And I was like, man, that'd be cool if I was that guy, you know? I was like the new guy, but I was like, what if I was that guy who could do it too, you know? So I just go home and practice, and I think you're right. I think guys, well, I don't know, I was one of these guys who I kind of picked it up quick. And not that I could do it really good really quick, but the progress was quick. Like when I practiced for like even like 1 hour, I would be like, wait, I can kind of walk a little bit. Yeah. And I said, I can kind of see myself doing this. And it took maybe 3 weeks, but I could do it. I could do the whole thing. And I remember everybody in judo class being like, oh, look at this kid. He's so freaking cool or whatever with the handstand. And me and that other guy who were the only guys who could do it. And then eventually when I got into high school, I walked across the football field on my hands. And I was like, I won $50, by the way.
Whoa.
And yeah, my friend was super impressed. But
I literally just did a minute handstand at the muster this past weekend because all the kids were like, I can do handstands. I'm like, oh, really? And they were like, and I was like, well, I can do handstands too. And they were like, no way. And I'm like, I can do one for a minute. And they were like, are you serious? I'm like, put the clock on. And I did it. They were like, whoa. They were so impressed.
That's sick. You can still do it.
I don't practice that often either. Yeah. Right? Like, I think that, like, handstands and gymnastics, like, a lot of great wrestlers and jiu-jitsu players are like, have those roots of gymnastics, tumbling, tumbling in general too. Like when we went out to Philly for a wrestling camp that me and my younger sister went to this past summer, bro, all the guys were doing backflips. All the wrestlers were doing backflips. And this camp was a really good wrestlers. And they were doing backflips. They were doing front handsprings off of each other. And they're just so athletic, like that athleticism. Yeah.
Even like the 10th Planet guys like Gio and Boogie, like they came from breakdancing. And so they kind of bring that thing in there. A couple things about cheer that I think is, again, these are like lessons learned for me. But at this point, you know, now I had learned a little bit more and I understood a little bit better. You know, I had made these mistakes with you guys, like forcing you to do jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And so when you wanted to do cheer, of course I was wrong because I just thought, in my mind, I just had like the stereotypical cheerleader in my brain of like, oh, what do they do? Like sit there and go rah football player, and they wear a bunch of makeup and they have like big hair and they're.
We did wear makeup and have big hair.
You did wear makeup and you wore crazy amount of makeup and crazy amount of hair, but I didn't. But the athletic side I didn't really understand. And actually, I worked with a woman who I told her, I was like, yeah, man, my and this woman's awesome, like a badass CEO of a company. And I was like, yeah, you know, my daughter's going to do cheerleading. And she's like, I did cheer. It's the best thing for me. And I was like, oh, really? I said, why? And she said, well, you got to stand up there. You got to do all this athletic stuff. And she was talking about high school cheer. She says, you know, you got to get up in front of a bunch of people and you got to yell. And that takes a lot of confidence. So it helped out her confidence. So I kind of saw the negative, but at least at this point, I was smart enough to be, okay. Kind of what I said earlier, like if your kid's going to go through phases, I thought, you know what, just going to do some cheerleading, okay. And actually, our neighbor, Dieter, because his daughter, this was high school cheer, and both of you did high school cheer. And he and I were always talking shit to each other. And I was driving down the alley, and I stopped to talk to him, and he's like, "So you're letting your daughter do cheer, huh?" Because he thought, like how's Jocko, big tough Jocko is going to let his daughter do cheer. And I was like, and he knew because his daughter did cheer. And he said, "So you're going to let your daughter do cheer, huh?" Very accusatory. And I said something like, "Dude, I figure I'd let her do cheer right now. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a meth head." You know what I mean? Like when you try and control people.
Yeah, she's going to rebel.
So,
cool. I also wrestled at the same time anyway.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think, yeah, that's true. Once you were wrestling, you get a lot of.
I got a little grace.
Little points. Yeah. I remember also, and this is just speaking again about like your natural abilities, which I don't know why you didn't. I'm sure there's like a specific type of body type that is good for girls
better watch
gymnastics,
your words, bro.
I know, right?
But like,
I'm just kidding.
You did like I had Sage train you guys, Sage Bergner. She's like a national level wrestler, national level weightlifter. Her dad is a badass like Olympic lifting coach, and she was working with you for the summer. And one day she just said, "If I could design a human for Olympic weightlifting, it would be Rana." And I was like, okay. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I think there is a specific build for gymnastics. Plus, it just wasn't like, I just didn't connect with me. I don't know.
I think it was, honestly, now that I've discussed it with you, I think you were bored. I think you wanted it more like more activity and more like, hey,
yeah.
Because I
did like that aspect of cheer.
When I'd have to pick you up from practices, you're like,
bro, you don't break a sweat, honestly.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, and I bet there's people listening right now that are like, she went to the wrong gymnastics place, because I guarantee there's places that are psycho. And
it was a beginner gymnastics place. I'm not like, it just wasn't for me. Like we had good coaches, good people, but I just like it was not like a good form of exercise for me either, in my opinion. But when I got to cheer, bro, I was sweating like crazy. Like sweat like never before. Like really, really working my butt off. Like it was crazy.
So you get into freshman year in high school. I think I just straight up said, "I will pay you money if you wrestle." Yeah.
Well, my older sister tried to wrestle, and I knew you were gonna like pay me to wrestle in the first place. You weren't like, I was just like, all right, I'll get paid to do it.
Yeah. Unfortunately for your older sister, she was the only girl on the team, and she was just, after like a few weeks, she was like, "Dad, I'm literally just getting like my face pounded into the mat, and it just sucks.
And it's sweaty and nasty.
And there's these freaking 17-year-old dudes in there, and she's the only girl."
And that goes back to like not having a partner.
Yep.
That you like, that seriously can make it, break it.
Yep.
Like my dad told my brother, "You're going to go to Rana's wrestling practices." And when he wasn't in high school yet.
Yeah.
So I'm 2 years older than him. And he was like, "You're going to go." So Rana, because I was the only girl also. So he was like, "You're going to go and just be her partner." And that was like seriously amazing. I would have made friends eventually, because I don't think that I would have not done it. But you never know. But having my brother there was like awesome, because I didn't have to look around. No one wants to pair with the one girl, because that's, we're in high school,
And luckily, he was probably like, I guess if you were 13, he was like 11 or something like that. But you guys were about the same size. You guys were similar enough in size.
Yeah, we were. We were like exactly the same size, and we were just like little meatballs, like dragging our feet when we'd have to do runs for wrestling. Like we were always the last two to finish, just like the 11-year-old and the one girl, holding it down. But it was fun. I didn't mind.
Yeah.
And people were like supportive. They were like cheering.